What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Talkin Shop, our weekly live stream here at Zoweh Allies. My name is Josh Overton. I get the privilege and the honor to be the director here and your friend and your teammate, your ally on this mission of redeeming hearts and fighting for the hearts of the men in our communities, as well as helping them engage and fight for their own hearts and the hearts around them. That's what it's all about, man. And appreciate you guys making the time to catch this live or maybe even watch this later on replay. We have been spending the last several weeks going through the listening guide for men, one of Zoweh's latest YouVersion plans. And today we kind of wrap that up. But first off, just want to say, I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving time with your family, time around the table. You know, I sent out an email not this past Sunday, I guess the Sunday prior to Thanksgiving, and kind of just drawing attention to the timing of this event. Not this event, but this devotion, right? To go through this specific devotion plan leading into the holidays, leading into a time where so many of us are entering into various homes, or perhaps you're hosting, your family is traveling to you, and you're around the table, you're sitting around the living room, you're walking around outdoors with various members of your family, right? Various friends. And if your family's like mine, there are family members that you see quite often, and then there are some that you only see around the holidays. And so I just thought the timing of this could not have been better to invite us into listening and engaging with good, intentional questions, to really lean in and help those around us feel the value of being seen and heard. And I also hope that you felt seen and heard. I hope that you were able to engage and share and offer as well. And as we now turn into December and prepare for the next holiday, another opportunity to be around the tree, to be around the table, to be next to family members in the pew, in the chairs, at Christmas services. You're going to have ample amounts of opportunities to practice this. And that is the whole goal of this conversation, right? Is to show us, to lean into things that are helpful, things that we can practice. Yes, in our men's ministry, yes, in our groups, but as well as our day-to-day lives, around the home front, around the dinner table. And so, yeah, we're going to just lean into Dave number 6 here, the final day of this listening guide for men. And I want to start by reading Job chapter 2, verse 13. And so you guys are probably familiar with this story. Job is being tested by both the enemy and God. There's a series of tests in here, right, of Job being tested in what he can be entrusted with, and even God kind of looking at the enemy and saying, my boy's got this. And what befalls Job is horrendous, and would not pray that on anybody. What he endures, the loss of family, the loss of land, the loss of wealth, provision. He's not really left with anything except his relationship with the Father. And various things are happening throughout this story in the Bible. And one of the things that I've always appreciated to a degree is the amount of people, the friends that show up to Job, that show up to spend time with him. And some of them do better than others. If you're not familiar with that, I would encourage you to go read the first few chapters to get more familiar with it. Some of these friends do better than others. But this particular moment right here really defines what we've been talking about the last few weeks, what we're going after. It says in verse 13 about listening, the power of presence, right? It says, then they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and nights. So Job is in his period of processing and feeling what has happened to him. He's grieving. No doubt he's feeling all sorts of things. And they came and sat with him for 7 days and nights, and no one said a word to Job, for they saw that his suffering was too great for words. And I just want to give a little commentary on that and say, man, as a guy that's been a professional Christian for a while and a guy that's been in ministry, when I get text messages or phone calls or somehow find out that someone I know has experienced something, a loss, a period in their marriage, a relationship that's extremely critical and hurtful and painful, I still struggle with how to respond to that. Because I've been on the end where people are just trying their best, man, and as we would say in the South, just bless their hearts. They're trying their best, but they just end up saying things that are not helpful, things that are really hard to quantify and believe in certain moments. And truth is always truth. I'm not saying you should shy away from truth, but sometimes a Bible verse isn't helpful in that moment. You know what I mean? And I love that they just came and sat with him. Yeah. That's what we want to lean into as we go through today's reading during the devotional portion of this. And it's entitled, Hold the Silence. And I love how it leads off, man, because it's so true. It's so true. When I'm in a conversation, even doing this live stream right now, like I'm the one talking, you guys are listening, watching, maybe you're engaging in chat, but there's silence. And I know in my own like personal conversations, when there's silence, it can be awkward and it can be uncomfortable, right? And do you feel the need to fill it with words in conversation? Yeah, most of the time I try to think of something to say. But it's interesting when I'm driving, I prefer, I'm not against having a conversation, but when I'm driving in the car, I enjoy the silence because it allows me to think and just kind of be present in whatever I'm doing or wherever I'm headed or wherever, maybe something I'm going through. But it's interesting, right, in this tension of holding the silence. And as we're talking to not just people who are experiencing trauma and pain, but just in general day-to-day conversations, think about everything we've talked about, leaning in, right? Not trying to fix, not trying to just present something, right? Asking engaging questions. I think another part of this skill set is also the ability to honor the silence. And I love this. The secret is silence does not have to be empty. And I want you to think about it this way, that silence is not inactivity, it's an opportunity. When there is silence, this is an opportunity for you to be attuned to the Spirit of God. And so this is, to me, this is the game-changing, like, light bulb in all of this. Man, that as I'm talking with someone, I'm also listening to God. As I'm listening to someone else share, I should be attuned and listening to God. Hey, God, what do you want me to say here? What do you want me to offer? What do you not want me to say here? God, what questions should I ask? How many of us really listen to God during a conversational silence, taking a moment to check in with yourself and the Spirit? Where are you feeling their story in your body? Right? Someone sharing. You ever felt the weight of something? Maybe on your shoulders, maybe on your chest, maybe in your gut. What emotions come up? What pictures, what words? Just another thing to add to our toolkit right there is asking the Spirit to help us see what this person needs in the moment. So silent is not empty, and in silence is an opportunity to also listen to God. It also gives them a moment to breathe and process and think. I have to practice this with my kids all the time because not every moment, but 70% of the time when they start something, I pretty much know where it's going to go. I probably could finish their sentences most of the time, but that's not helpful. And a lot of times what ends up in that moment is I project what I'm thinking and feeling onto them, and I might totally miss the heart of what they're trying to say and communicate if I do that. I wonder how many times that happens in our small groups, how many times that might happen in our marriage, how many times that might happen around the dinner table, around the holiday table, where the silence is there and we just try to sputter off the first thing that pops in our head. The silence is not empty. It is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to listen to God. If you want to talk, have a conversation with God in that moment. And also just take note of how you're feeling, where you're feeling it. It's going to give you some clues onto potentially what they're feeling and how they are experiencing whatever they are sharing about. It's this double listening, you could say. And that takes a well-attuned listener to be able to pull this off. But if we are putting into practice these other things that we've covered so far, and really covering all of that with our attunement to the Holy Spirit, it's going to help us. It's definitely going to help us. Also, contrary-wise, they need to fill in empty space with words. With the need to fill in empty space with words creates a restless environment where conversation may pinball at any moment, and where a person may not feel safe or welcome to share anything of value out of anticipation that it will go unnoticed. So again, when we are seeking, and sometimes well-intentioned, I get it, but when we are seeking to squelch the silence, we could in that very effort be closing someone off. Because, well, if I start this, they're just going to jump right in. They're going to cut me off. They're going to offer what they're thinking. I'm not even going to be able to share. You're not even going to catch what I'm saying is really a window into how I'm feeling. And you may not even give the opportunity for that window to get open if we're squelching the silence, right? And so instead of deepening the conversation, we're actually staying in very shallow waters, right? So I'm gonna read this word for word because it's so good. In this final day of the reading, but let's just read it together. When we listen well with an attuned heart, we create an environment for healing and displaying the loving presence of God to other people. Every person's story matters to each of us and to God, and deserves to be honored. I mean, fellas, you should draft this in your bylaws, in your culture. We spend a lot of time talking about culture. In your culture, these should be some tenets of what you want to strive for. As you were thinking, maybe you're a pastor or a leader who is also training other people to help you lead groups. Man, you should spend some time walking through this with them. Does every person's story matter? If it matters to us, does it matter to God? And if it does, well, then there should be some implications for that. Hence why we're going through this whole entire devotion, right? So it deserves to be honored. When we bear witness to each other's stories, we feel seen and heard, and less alone. The ways that we are often accustomed to responding and used to think most helpful in listening can actually be harmful and create isolation. That's just kind of pointing back to rushing to offer, rushing to fix, a problem to solve, versus a heart to be engaged, a story to be listened to. Each conversation is an opportunity to engage your whole person with another. Ask open-ended questions. This allows others to continue sharing their story and helps them feel seen, known, and cared for well. Kindly listening to and naming what you observe in another's story offers a mirror for him or her to see their story with fresh eyes and permission to feel now what they couldn't before. It helps bring clarity and is often an important step toward emotional healing. And the last one, leaning into the silence in the conversation rather than shying away from it creates space for engagement and deeper understanding. And in those moments, ask the Spirit to guide both of your hearts and words as you continue. I mean, my hope would be that you would take what we've discussed these last few weeks and really just went through in that last 2 minutes of recap and really lean into what this looks like to implement across your life. But yes, we're talking specifically for your groups, for your ministries. When you're sitting across from another man, wherever that might be, in a small group, around a fire, on your back porch, in a barn, in a church, at Panera Bread, you guys are doing it everywhere, all across the country. You're killing it, okay? You're doing an amazing job. And yet this is a chance for us to sharpen our sword even more, to really hone in on offering a safe space for hearts to engage. And I'm telling you, you can have the fire roaring. You can have the best environment. Okay? This right here is the goal. This right here is what unlocks the thing that we all really want to see happen within our groups and within our communities. And that is going on mission together. Vulnerability. Offering our stories. Offering what we're struggling with. Connection. Deep friendship. Brotherhood. This is what paves the way for that. So it's been pretty incredible to sit here with you guys and go through this. It's been eye-opening for me to even go through it at this level with this type of microscope. I think it's been helpful for you as well. We're going to actually jump into a base camp series. So we're going to kind of keep the same format, same flow. We're going to kick off a base camp series. I want to showcase what base camp is for you guys as we prepare to release even more base camp series in 2026. You're also going to hear from several allies between now and Christmas. I'm going to plan to have Michael on a call with me as well, this live stream. Lots to look forward to. I want to tell you about two things before I sign off. The first one is December 10th, the roundtable. That is at 8 o'clock, and would love for you guys to sign up for that. It is an allies roundtable where we're going to, look back and celebrate what God has done in 2025. You'll hear from me, Michael, SJ, the rest of the Zoweh team, as well as some allies celebrating and sharing stories from the front lines. And then we're going to share a little bit about what's coming for next year, what Zoweh is doing to serve you as an outpost, to be your ally as you guys are allies for us. And we are on the front lines together, signing treaties, going to war together. Right? It's what good allied kingdoms do. We're building the big K kingdom together. So we're going to share all about that. Then I also want to give you some time during that roundtable to connect with one another. So a lot of ground to cover. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's December the 10th, 8 o'clock p.m. Go to zoweh.org/allies to sign up. You must register to get the link for that. So make sure you do that. And then secondly is today kicks off. Let me grab the link real quick. I thought I had it. Today actually kicks off Giving Tuesday. There we go. Let me just drop it real quick. Then I can. Oh, that's not it. 1 second, fellas. Yeah, so today kicks off Giving Tuesday, which, as you know, is kind of a global phenomenon at this point. It just really kicks off the giving season. We spent the last few days shopping. Hopefully you cross off some things on your Christmas list. Can you put Zoweh on your Christmas list, please? And what we're asking you to do is, a lot of you watching this, you are partners already. Some of you may not be financial partners yet, but I'd like to invite you to consider joining us to fuel the mission for what we want to do and what we believe God's calling us to do and putting in front of us for us to do next year. And so when I think about 2025, it is because of financial partners that we were able to create so many resources for you guys and discounts. And those resources were free, most of them, right? And give you discounts on other things because of financial partnership. So we want to continue to do more of that along with the vision of 2026. I would invite you, if you're not a partner, to consider partnering with us as a financial partner. And if you are already giving, then here's the cool thing is we have a $20,000 match, for anyone that comes on at $50 or more. That will be matched. And anyone that that's already a partner and you increase, your increase will be matched as well. So I dropped a link for you there in chat. Would really ask you to prayerfully consider just asking God what you should give and being obedient to that and continuing to be an ally with us in this way as well, which would include financial partnership. It would be tremendous. That goes to supporting all of our efforts as well as our team and all that God has for us. And with that, I'm going to hop off of here. I'll see you guys next week.